are going to have presentation on map skill. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to define map skill. Also, you should be able to differentiate between the three types of map skill. In addition, you should be able to know the relationship between map skill and map size. The last objective is you should be able to convert one skill type to the other. You should be able to convert one skill type to the other. So, let's start with the definition of map skill. In our previous lesson, we talked about map skill as a feature of every map. So now let's focus on it and know more about map skill. We know that all maps are scale models of reality. So skill refers to the relationship between distance measured on a map and actual distance measured on the ground. Mathematically, skill can be expressed as map distance over ground distance. Examples of map skill include 1:20,000, 2 centimeters to 4 kilometers, 2 inches to 2 miles. So now, let us interpret what 1:20,000 means. When we say 1:20,000, the first number, which is 1, represents distance on map, and 20,000 represent actual distance on ground, which refers to 2 centimeters to 4 kilometers. The 2 centimeters represent map distance and 4 kilometers represent actual ground distance. The same thing for 2 inches to 2 miles. The 2 inches represent map distance and 2 miles represent ground distance. With reference to the first example, it means anytime we measure 1 centimeter on the map, we have measured 20,000 centimeters on the ground. Example 2 means anytime we measure 2 centimeters on the map, we have measured 4 kilometers on the ground. So the last example, which is 2 inches to 2 miles, means for every 2 inches measured on the map will give us 2 miles measured on the ground. So now let's talk about the part of skill. We know that every skill has 2 parts, or when you take any map skill, you can see 2 things on it. We have the map distance and the ground distance. Always the map distance is in a smaller unit of measurement. Now let's talk about the function of map skill. So map skill is used to determine physical distance and size of geographical area. This helps in navigation because it allows the user to determine the actual distance between places. It also helps in understanding the general size of an area. So what you can ask, or what you may ask is, are all map skills the same? In general and in cartography, map skill can be expressed in 3 forms. They perform the same functions, but there are differences in how they portray the relationship between map distance and ground distance. So These three forms are statement form, fraction or ratio form, and graphical form. So we have three types of scale. The first type is statement scale. The next one is representative fraction. The last one is linear scale. When you take statement scale, this type of scale expresses map scale in a form of statement. Example: 2 centimeters to 4 kilometers, 2 inches to 2 miles. So for statement scale, always you see that the scale is in a statement form. The next type of scale we are talking about is representative fraction scale. Representative fraction. This is another type of scale that shows the relationship between map distance and ground distance in a fraction or ratio form. Always the numerator of the representative fraction scale is 1. This type of scale has no unit of measurement. So example, 1 is to 50,000, 1 is to 75,000. The last type of scale we'll be talking about is the linear scale or the graphical scale. Linear scale can be defined as a line graduated to show the ratio between map distance and ground distance. The graduated points have regular intervals, meaning the interval from a graduated point to the next or previous is the same. Linear scale can also be defined as the graphical representation of statement or representative fraction. Linear scale has 2 divisions. Larger units are shown on the primary division and smaller units are shown on secondary division.